Yeah, hi there, Saba, and I am Michael Buckoff, the founder, owner, and the materials writer for all of your lessons at the 7-step system to pass a TOEFL IBT, and I'm actually going to listen to 3 of your independent speaking practice tests. I'm going to give you some comments on those as we go. All right, so let's start with, you did independent speaking practice test number 234, number 232, and number 227. So let's take a look at number 234 first, and let me just remind myself which one that one is. Okay, here we go. Okay, so the question here is, your college chancellor wants to make digital copies of each book in the library in order to save money. However, all libraries on your college campus will be closed and you will no longer have access to physical copies of books. Do you think it is more important to save money or keep the libraries? Tough question. Wow.
In my opinion, it's more important to keep the library open on campus than close them and save money, for 2 very important reasons. The first one...
Now let's go back to the beginning here.
Campus than close them and save money, for 2 very important reasons.
Hold on.
In my opinion, it's more important to keep the library open on campus than close them and save money.
Now you should keep the library open, then close them. No, it's then close it. Or it's important to keep libraries, plural, open on campuses and then close them. So you want to make sure if you have a plural pronoun, it refers back to a plural verb. Or if you have a singular pronoun, it refers back to a singular verb. So be careful about that. Now also, be a little creative in your introduction. I have 2 reasons to. That's a very predictable, it's almost a memorized response. I'd like to have you be a little more unique, more original than that. You can go to speaking lesson number 2 to learn more about how to create sharply focused topic statements for the independent writing tasks.
For 2 very important reasons. The first one, physical...
And the word very, for 2 very important reasons.
Copies of books is more important than reading these books on computers. I just read a report about how computers emit very harmful electromagnetic rays and...
You want to say emit. Harmful rays.
Consequences that have very bad consequences on our bodies. Of books is more important than reading these books on the computer.
Don't say reading, but reading these books.
I just read a report about how computers emit very harmful electromagnetic rays and frequencies that have...
Very harmful, I'm not quite getting that one word. Hold on.
I just read a report about how computers emit very harmful electromagnetic rays and
electromagnetic rays, I think that you're saying, but you're not clearly pronouncing that. Electromagnetic rays.
That have very bad consequences on our bodies and eyes. The second reason is that the library is more than a place where...
The second reason why libraries should be kept open is, or libraries should also be kept open because. So that second idea needs to more directly connect back to the purpose of the speaking task.
Students can borrow books. Actually, library has so many other good resources. For example, it provides a quiet place that students can finish their studies and their reports and print out them. Also, the librarian has a very good resource of information.
Okay.
I prefer to go...
Okay, not bad. So with this one, let's take a look at the rubrics. Yeah, I don't think you'll get 26 on this, I'll be honest with you. I'm going to give you 3.0 out of 4, 23 points out of 30. So it does require some listener effort. Some IBT human raters, they may overrule me and say, hey, well, some of what you said was not understandable. They may score you in the 2 range, 22 points. Where it says listener effort is needed because of. You had some minor language use issues. Also, at times, you can probably organize your ideas a little bit better, as I suggested. So the first speaking task, I'm going to say 3.0 out of 4, or 23 points out of 30 on this particular practice test. All right, now let's go to the next one. This one, if I remember correctly, this is 232, and this one is, which do you prefer, taking online classes or going to a classroom with the teacher and other students? Use specific examples and details. So you say,
I prefer to go to a classroom with a teacher and other students rather than to take online courses for two very important reasons.
Nah, for two important. You see, you're using exactly the same grammar you did before. It's like a memorize a contrived thing. That's probably not the best way to do it. So if we go back to your previous speaking task, you might say this: because of the danger of reading books online and the other available resources that libraries offer, I think libraries should not be closed in place of offering books online. Something like that. You need a more specific, a more focused topic statement. You want to show that you have more advanced grammar. You can combine ideas. You can do things that show that you have a better command of vocabulary and also grammar.
The first one is that in the classroom, I can...
The first one what? The first what? Right? You say, first of all, I prefer classes over online courses because... Then you might say, another reason why I prefer classrooms rather than online classes is... You see what I'm saying? So you can't assume that the IBT Human Rater automatically knows what the purpose of your different points of your response are. You have to explicitly connect what you say back to the speaking task.
Get instant feedback from the professor. I remember when I took a chemistry class, I wasn't able to understand the acid-base equation. And in the classroom, the professor was able to clarify everything for me by giving more details and examples.
That was a good example to help support why you like classrooms. That was a very strong example to illustrate your point. That was good.
The second reason why I prefer classrooms over online courses.
Yes, that's a good topic sentence right there. It does two things. It connects back to your previous idea by saying another reason, but it also connects back to the overall purpose of the task. That gives you some good points. That's a good organization, what you just did there. Let's hear that one more time.
Professor was able to clarify everything for me by giving more details.
You need to pronounce that word clarify.
Examples. The second reason why I prefer classrooms over online courses, because I can make a new...
Is because. You don't forget your main verb. The second reason why I prefer classrooms over online classes is because, or if you don't want to say that, you can say I prefer classrooms over online classes because. So don't, whatever you do, when you're doing the TOEFL exam, don't forget your main verb. There's two main parts of the sentence. You have to have a subject, you have to have a verb. You can't miss either one of those. That's going to kill your score right there.
I remember when I took English 100 in Skyline Community College, there were more than 30 students in a classroom, and we were able to share ideas and opinions and find something common between us, and that's how I make a new friends. And that's, in my opinion.
Okay, so overall, I think maybe it was a little bit better than the one before, but still, I don't think you are having some issues in there. I'm going to put you between about 23 and 24 points out of 30. You probably wouldn't get 26 on this one either, to be honest with you. So you had some minor language use issues with some grammar issues. Certain parts of the speech or response you can probably better connect back to your purpose and you have an unoriginal, your topic statement is unoriginal. Again, go to speaking lesson number 2 to learn more about how to more specifically frame your independent speaking task from the beginning.
In my opinion, 5 years and beyond is an appropriate age for children to have an iPad or tablet devices for 2 very important reasons.
For 2 important reasons? You kidding me? You got to do better than this, Saba. You got to do better than that. So let's go over to, let me look at what this question is. So this is number 227. With the advent of the iPad and other template devices, many parents purchase these devices for their children, so they use it for school or for fun. In your opinion, what is an appropriate age for children to have such devices? So at what age should a child have an iPad or other kinds of template devices? We can call them tablets even, right? Okay, so going back to what you said, let's go back to the beginning.
In my opinion, 5 years and beyond is...
And in my opinion, you don't even have to say that, because just say 5 years and beyond. We already know it's your opinion because you're giving the response. So that is unnecessary, and you can use, instead of saying in my opinion, you can better develop your topic statement by including the specific details or the specific points around which you can frame the body of your response.
An appropriate age for children to have an iPad or tablet devices for 2 very important reasons. First of all, at 5 years old, children go to kindergarten, and iPad has so many programs that help them to read and write. For example, my daughter, she has difficulty pronouncing the vowels, but with...
excuse me. So, for example, my daughter, she has... That's not going to help you either, because you said, for example, my daughter, which is your subject. Then you said she, which is a second subject. Just say, for example, my daughter has. There's no reason to say she. You don't have to repeat your subject twice. So that's also a language use error. So be careful about that. You don't want to have any language use errors in there.
Read and write. For example, my daughter, she has difficulty pronouncing the vowels.
Let's go
tablet
back.
Devices for 2 very important reasons. First of all, at 5 years old, children go to kindergarten, and iPad has so many programs that help them to read and write. For example, my daughter, she has difficulty pronouncing the...
So just my daughter has difficulty pronouncing
vowels, but with the programs on the iPad, she learns how to pronounce them very correctly.
There. But now you're using a compound sentence. I like that, because now you're showing a little bit more advanced grammar. You're combining 2 ideas with a coordinating conjunction, so that's good.
The second reason is that I don't like children before...
The second reason is, again, you might want to say 5 years of age is also appropriate for these devices because... So again, make sure you more explicitly connect what you say back to the purpose of the speaking task.
5 years old to use iPad because this will affect their communication skills. Children who use iPad a lot, they will be shy and they cannot make a conversation. And they...
There. So children who use iPads can... So you're using a complex sentence there, including an embedded adjective clause in there. That's good. For your grammar, but it looks like you're kind of running out of time here.
Pronounce them very correctly. The second reason is that I don't like children before 5 years old to use iPad because this will affect their communication skills. Children who use iPad a lot, they will be shy and they cannot make a conversation and they cannot participate in a team group.
Yeah, I don't know about that idea. You brought up something at the very end, but you didn't have enough time to really develop that topic, so maybe that wasn't a good strategy. And you're arguing more why 5 years is the appropriate age, and then you're talking about why younger ages is not appropriate for these devices. I would probably save that for a different response, not for this response. Just focus on why 5 years of age is the appropriate age to use tablet devices. Just focus around that idea, And don't worry about, say, age 4, 3, 2, or 1. All right, so on this one, yeah, I don't know. I think you're getting close, but I don't think this would get 26 either. I'm going to put you at about 23 points out of 30 on this, 3.0 out of 4. So as I pointed out, you had a language use issue in there. You have some minor pronunciation type things that you're trying to work on. But it looks like in each of these responses, you have to be careful about your grammar, the grammar that you're using. Now, I want you to try something. I know it's kind of crazy. If you want to submit 3 practice tests a day, which you can do whatever you want. You know, I'm trying to help you any way I can because I want you, Saba, to get 26. That's the bottom line. You're going to do it. You can do it. If you can put up with all my criticism over the last month or so and not go crazy, you can get 26 out of 30. And that's a fact. Think about that. Now, how about this? Think about this for a minute. I want you, the next speaking practice test that you submit to me, I want one of them to be 30 out of 30. Exactly. Now, how do you do that? I want you to take one of your practice tests. I want you to write it all out exactly. I mean, write it by hand. You want to make sure every vocabulary word is correct. Make sure you're not missing any S's. Your subject-verb agreement is good. Make sure the grammar is perfect. Vocabulary is perfect. The organization is perfect. Then practice it about 10 times and then record it for me. Think about that for a minute. Now, why are you doing that? What you're doing here is you're trying to get the feel. What does it feel like to get a perfect score? Because you don't know. But I know you can do this. You see what I'm saying? So one of your practice tests that you submit next time, don't tell me which one it is. And at least one of them, if you do that, if you write it out, if you practice it over and over, you should get 30 out of 30 or minimum 26 out of 30, right? As long as you don't have any major pronunciation issues. So try that out at least, and you might try that for a little bit. Now think about it for a minute. If you write out the speech and you feel the grammar and you feel the vocabulary, eventually it would become more natural in your speech, just like when you're driving, it's more natural for you to make all the decisions now when you drive, as opposed to when you just started driving, everything was new and it was very burdensome and difficult. You see what I'm saying? Anyway, thank you for completing these 3 practice tests. Hang in there. I apologize that you probably get irritated with me. I'm not trying to irritate you, I promise. I'm trying to help you get that score. Right? I'm trying to get you to the point where you're comfortable. You're speaking fluently. You're speaking clearly. You're speaking accurately. You're developing and organizing your ideas the way that you need to so that you can get the 26 out of 30. All right, Saba, anyway, thank you very much. Hang in there. Have a great day.